Level 1. The static. You are born in a city that doesn't appear on any official map. Your first memory is not your mother's voice. It is shortwave radio at 3 in the morning. Scanning, stopping on static. Scanning again. Your father sits at the table with headphones around his neck and tea he never drinks. He writes nothing down. He remembers everything. Your parents speak a private language, not foreign. Private, built from silences, and the way your father sets his fork down when a conversation needs to end. You learn it before you learn to read. At school, you are completely ordinary, pleasant, unremarkable, blends well with the group. Your teacher writes this as a mild compliment. Your father reads it and smiles for the first time in months. Unremarkable is the highest grade you will ever receive, the only one that will keep you alive. The static between radio stations is the sound of your childhood. Not lullabies, not silence, static. The frequency between what is said and what is true. You grow up learning to live there. Game, the first tool of your tradecraft. You were born invisible and didn't know it was a skill. Lost, a childhood that belonged to you. The other children dream. You were taught that dreaming is disclosure. Level 2, the shredded archive. You are 9 years old when the accident happens. It happens on a foreign road during a transit that was never officially scheduled. You are told there was ice. You are told it was fast. You are told they did not suffer. Nobody tells you where they are buried because there is no burial. There is a brown envelope on a government desk containing shredded paper. Your parents' entire operational record, destroyed the same afternoon they died. A man in a grey suit comes to collect you. Not from family, from the state. He gives you a clean room, a meal, and a school that appears on no official registry. He says you have a gift, the gift of being unremarkable, and that the state would like to invest in it for the long term. You are 9. The room is warm. You say yes. Later, you will understand that your yes was not a choice, but later is far away. The school teaches mathematics, languages, and the geography of nations that consider themselves your enemies. Beneath every lesson runs a single doctrine that becomes gravity. Loyalty is a transaction. Survival is the only currency that cannot be borrowed. Gain, a state that will feed you, train you, and deploy you. Lost, the right to grieve. They gave you a future in exchange for your past. The trade was not negotiable. Level 3, the first breach. You are 14 years old, and your final exam has no written component. A man whose face you will never see again delivers the assignment in 40 seconds. Infiltrate a group of dissidents meeting Tuesday evenings above a laundry on the east side of the city. Document their network. Deliver everything within 6 weeks. Your best friend is a member of that group. You knew. You filed it and said nothing. You join on a Tuesday in November. You say you are afraid of what the state is becoming. You say you believe in something better. You are not lying. That is the most dangerous part. Your instructors taught you that the best cover is a real feeling, stretched over a purpose the other person cannot see. 6 weeks later, you submit 14 names, 4 meeting locations, 2 external contacts. 2 days after that, the laundry is raided at 4 in the morning. You lie in your dormitory bed and feel something leaving your body. Not guilt, not fear, something older. The last piece of the person who arrived at this school 3 years ago. It leaves quietly. You don't chase it. Your best friend receives 5 years. At graduation, the man with no face shakes your hand. You hesitated 3 days before joining. Work on that. Gain. First successful operation. Confirmed talent for human penetration at the highest emotional risk. Lost. The original version of yourself. It was not replaced. Level 4. The black room. There are no windows. The room you spend the next 8 months in has no windows, no natural light, no visible clock. No reliable way to know if the fluorescent tube above you is shining on a Tuesday or a Saturday, or the same Tuesday from 6 weeks ago. Disorientation is the curriculum. You learn to resist interrogation from professionals who are patient and who have broken better people and know exactly how long it takes. You break on the 41st day, they reset. You break on the 28th, they reset. You break on the 52nd day, but this time something inside you is watching. Detached, clinical, taking notes. The instructors write something in a file you never see. What they write is ready. You also learn cipher systems, dead drop choreography, cover story construction, surveillance detection routing, and the physiological tells of deception in 17 cultural contexts. You learn to disappear inside a room that is already invisible. On the last day, the door opens. Daylight comes in. It feels foreign on your skin. Gain a complete intelligence toolkit and a psychological architecture with no civilian flaw remaining. Lost the ability to experience a room as simply a room. Every space is a threat environment. Every person is an angle. Level 5, the architect. The passport says Canadian. The profession says infrastructure architect. Montreal, McGill University. A firm designing water treatment facilities for developing nations. His name is Daniel Rourke. He doesn't exist. He exists completely. You land in the hostile nation in March when the air smells like coal smoke and something chemical, no one name. The customs officer takes 4 seconds with your passport. 4 is acceptable. He stamps it. Daniel Rourke walks into a country that would hang him in a public square if it knew what was underneath. What's underneath? A boy from a borderless city, a brown envelope of shredded paper, 41 days of breaking and resetting, and instructions burned in a Frankfurt hotel bathroom. The smoke alarm didn't trigger because you checked it 4 minutes before. You run a surveillance detection route through 6 neighborhoods every morning before breakfast. You document your neighbors' routines, deviation. Routine is intelligence. Deviation is threat data. You attend professional conferences. You shake hands. You are exactly as interesting as a mid-career Canadian architect should be. Inside your head, you are running a different conference entirely. Gained operational cover in a denied area. Access beginning to develop. Lost the last latitude in your psychology. Paranoia is no longer an emotion, it is infrastructure. Level 6, the logistics ghost. You don't carry weapons. Your weapon is the understanding that information inside a closed system has mass. It moves, creates pressure, and can be redirected. If you know the architecture well enough, you can make it move in ways the system cannot detect. You spend 14 months building a consultancy relationship with the Ministry of Infrastructure. Boring work. That is the point. Nobody watches the man doing boring work. By month 9, you have access to 3 internal servers. Not because you hacked them, but because you helped their IT team migrate a legacy database, and they gave you credentials in gratitude and forgot to revoke them. People forget to revoke credentials. It is the most consistent human vulnerability in any security architecture. By month 14, you have mapped the ministry's entire logistics network, procurement chains, military infrastructure contracts, the routing connecting civilian records to defense allocations. 4 vulnerabilities capable of creating a catastrophic blind spot in the northern corridor. You report none of this yet. You plant instead small corruptions. Errors that look like clerical mistakes, compounding over 18 months into failures no one can trace to a single origin. Gained structural access to the enemy's operational nervous system. Lost the distinction between the work and the person doing it. You are no longer sure which one is the mask. Level 7, the inner circle. The general is not what you expected. Quiet, reads philosophy, asks questions that suggest he already knows the answers and is measuring how honestly you'll respond. Drinks 1 glass of wine at dinner, leaves the second untouched. 4 months of ministry consultations, 2 dinners at which you say almost nothing and listen to everything. On the 3rd dinner, he says, "You're not really here to fix water systems, are you?" You pause 2 seconds. Then you give him a different truth. Not your real one, but a truth constructed specifically for him. A cover story built around the shape of something he already believes. He pours you the 2nd glass. Over 11 months, you become his most trusted informal advisor. You shape 3 strategic decisions. You steer 2 military contracts toward vulnerabilities your agency has identified. You pass his private communications to a dead drop in a public library on alternating Thursdays. He sees you as a rare thing, a man without an agenda. You are the most agendaed person in every room you enter. You have not been in a room without an agenda since you were 9 years old. He trusts you completely. That is the most dangerous thing that has ever happened to you. Gained Strategic influence at the highest level of the enemy's command structure. Lost. The ability to have a conversation that is simply a conversation. Every word is a move. Level 8. The cost. You try to remember the sound of your mother's voice. You cannot. You remember that it existed, but the specific frequency, the particular warmth, gone. Replaced somewhere in the black room or across 17 cover identities. Replaced and nothing put in its place. You have no friends. You have contacts. The difference is that contacts can be burned and friends cannot. And nothing in your life has been immune to burning since you were 14. Your eyes in the mirror are different. Not damaged, not haunted, just colder. The temperature of professional assessment rather than personal recognition. You look at your own face and run the same calculation you run on every face. Threat level, usefulness, loyalty probability, exit strategy. The general's granddaughter shows you a drawing. A house, a tree, a sun with 8 even rays. She says, "This is where I want to live when I grow up." You say, "It's beautiful." You mean it. That is the problem. You can mean things for approximately 4 seconds before the professional layer reinstalls itself. 4 seconds is the worst duration. Long enough to feel the distance, short enough to confirm it's permanent. Gained. Nothing. This level has no gain. This is what level 8 is for. Lost. The last interior space that belonged only to you. You are a prisoner of your own access. Level 9. The burn notice. The regime falls on a Wednesday. Not dramatically. From the inside, it never looks dramatic. From the inside, it looks like a supply chain error, cascading into a procurement failure, cascading into a military logistics gap, cascading into a political transition announced on state television by a man reading from a paper he clearly didn't write. You recognize the cascade. You seeded 3 of the failures. You watch them compound over 22 months exactly as designed. You feel something cold and general, like finishing a long calculation and finding the result correct. You go home and wait for the extraction signal. It doesn't come. On the 3rd day, a message arrives through a dead drop channel unused for 2 years. 11 words. Asset compromised. Do not contact. Protocol 7. You are on your own. Protocol 7 means disavowal. Not because you failed, because you succeeded so completely that you now know things that cannot travel in an asset who might be captured, might talk, might exist inconveniently. You sit with the 11 words. You are not surprised. Loyalty is a transaction. You delivered the product. The clause about your continued existence being a liability is one you should have modeled better. Gain. Proof you understood the system completely. The system understood you too. Lost. The last institution that knew your real name, erased from the ledger while still breathing. Level 10. Total erasure. You reach the coast on a Friday that feels like no day at all. The passport in your pocket has a name you chose yourself, the first name you have ever chosen after a lifetime of names chosen by institution. You chose it badly. It sounds like something a person invents when they have forgotten what real names sound like. The water is grey. The horizon is the colour of the black room. You came from a city without a map. You stand on a coast without a name. Between them, a brown envelope, 14 cover identities, 9 years inside the enemy's most protected systems, and a cascade that changed the architecture of a nation, and that no one will ever trace to a single origin. No one will trace it because you do not exist. Your file was closed and archived on the same Wednesday the regime fell. Your real name, the one your parents gave you before they became shredded paper, is in that archive. It will not be opened. You look at the horizon for exactly as long as it takes to confirm there is nothing there. Then you walk. You don't look back. Looking back is a behavior surveillance teams are trained to detect. Gain. Survival. The rarest outcome for someone who went this deep. Lost. Every single thing that made you a person. Not gradually. Completely. Your name is deleted. Your prints are gone. And now you never existed.